Hi everyone, it's Sue. I'm going to make another one of these today. I was playing around last night with these and ended up making these journaling cards, which I'm really happy with. And so these are the Wildflower Thinlit dies from Tim Holtz. And I'm not sure whether I've uploaded the video yet, but so these are the cards that I made, or this is one that I haven't finished. These are the cards that I've made using the negatives of these. So some I've inked the watercolor paper and cut them out, and some I've cut out on the plain watercolor paper and then done watercolors on them. So that's, I'm using the die cuts on these. So I think they turned out really cute. So they've got acetate in there, and they've got like that little butterfly in each one. So I was really happy with those. So I found this was a book, like a little tiny, this was the size of the pages. They were a little bit wider. I found this in an op shop, and it's all like handmade paper. So obviously I pulled it apart, and I've had it sitting there thinking, what will I do with it? So the other night I thought, oh, once I did the wildflower die cutting, I thought that's all natural, and it would go nicely on some journaling cards. So that's where we're headed. So you can use anything, obviously. You could even use watercolor paper, once again, would go nicely with this, or, you know, just plain coffee dyed paper, anything. So now these are all different sizes, and they're not very straight. So I'll give you an approximate measurement of what I've made these. 4 by 7.5 ish. So they're all about 4 inches wide. I will by about 7.5, 7.25 long. Okay, so all right, so what I did was I just cut this book to bits, trimmed all them off, and basically just got a size that I liked. So this is the edge. So the book was about that wide. Okay, so I've cut them down to a size that I like. Okay. Oh, excuse me. In here I've just used a punch. I've just got a couple of punches. So this is the round punch. These are Stampin' Up punches. So this is 1 3/4 inches. And then this one I used this one. It's a Stampin' Up punch as well. So I don't know whether, I think these might be retired. I don't even know whether they have codes that mean anything on them. Okay, so I'm probably just going to do, I don't know, I'll just do a round one today. So they are a little bit fiddly, and so we'll only get one done today. Basically, once again, you guys will be getting sick of me using craft cardstock, but I have always loved craft cardstock. So, and since I found this at this color at Spotlight, I've just fallen back in love with it again. So that's what I'm going to be using again today. So what I did was, sorry guys, I'm going to tip it upside down. And now I just like to have a little bit of a border. Now I want this, I've taken it straight up to the top here. Actually, probably with this one, I might even leave a bit of a border around the top. But with this, I had to, because of the way this punched, I had to come in from the top. And if I had a border, it cut it too far up. Does that make sense? Like it, when you put it in, it only comes down so far, is what I'm trying to say. I can't do that because I'll wreck but yeah. And I wanted it to be going left to right, not up and down. So whereas the circle one, it doesn't matter so much, I don't think. Let me just have a look. I have no idea if I'm even making any sense. Yeah, so I can go in from the side here. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a border around this piece of paper now. So these are all, so this is handmade paper of some sort, and these are like, you can feel the texture in these. They've got little bits of leaf and straw and all sorts of things in here. So, okay. So I'm just going to put that on there, and I'm just going to roughly cut a little border around. If you feel more comfortable measuring, by all means do that. But I don't want to, like, I'm not gluing this down to it straight away. And if it's crooked, once we get it all glued together, we can trim it up. It's not, you know, not a big drama. So that's all I'm doing, is just putting that on top and getting an approximately the same size border all the way around. Just need to have a drink, sorry. Okay, so you can see I've got a border all the way around there now. Now I'm just going to try and line that up in the middle as best I can, and I'm going to punch. So I've got the two pieces together, okay, and I'm going to punch them both together so that the window is exactly where I want it on both pieces. Okay, so I'm going to just punch to the right of the card here, and keep those, which they come in handy. So there you have your window there. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to tip this side. Actually, that would have been nice having that bit. But anyway, I didn't look at that. So look at both sides if you're using handmade paper and what's in there. So what I'm using here is just some transparency film. It drives me mad how much static it's got on there, and it picks up all the fibre out of the paper and everything, but that's okay. So I've just pre-cut a few pieces just so you can see there, so that they just cover that window. So we want acetate on both pieces. So this is the back of the front piece of paper, and that's the front of the back piece of paper, or the inside facing piece of card. I'm not doing very well explaining, am I? Okay. So what I did find with one of these, I think there's like a little bit of glue seepage that you might be able to see there. I did put it a fair way away, but I think as I sewed, it sort of made the glue ooze out. So I'm just going to put, and you don't need a lot, I'm just using my art glitter glue, and I'm just going around there with a tiny little bit. So basically we just want to make sure that that adheres, and what I do try and do is push the glue away from the circle. So just push it away from the circle, and that's really all that you need just to make it stick there, because we're going to sandwich it all together. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same on this one. I'm just going to stick that down. I've got excess glue there, that's right, just wipe it away. And just push the glue away from your cutout piece. Okay. So then when you put those together, they are going to match up. So you can see, because this is handmade paper, you can see all the fibres from that as well. Okay, so that's your two pieces. Okay. Now, what have I done with them now? Oh, sorry guys, I just trying to find the butterflies. So I printed some butterflies off onto tracing paper. My printer hates tracing paper. The first time I tried to print with tracing paper, it chewed up and got all stuck inside. And it was a huge mess, and I thought I'd wrecked my printer. So what I do, sorry guys, I'm getting there. I just got a pile of mess here to my left. So these ones are a little bit too pastel-y for what I wanted, but I'm sure I will use them for something. And these are from 49 Dragonflies. So that's the original size. And I wanted them just a little bit smaller. So I've just shrunk them down a bit. And I've torn that one. Shrunk them down a bit so that they're a little bit smaller to go in the windows. And this way, they look like real butterflies, because you can see the front and back are the same color, so they're quite transparent. So that's why I've done that. And to get, I don't know if you guys have a printer that doesn't like tracing paper, so all I did was I got a little bit of cardstock weight card, and you can see I've had these for years and I found them, but I did find some new ones in one of the cheap shops. Stick-it dots. So they just rub off. I'll just show you. So they just rub off. They're not permanent. So very handy to have if you're just trying to place something. So all I did was I just put about 6 dots all on the edge of my paper. I got my tracing paper and I just lined that up on the dots like so. Obviously a blank piece of tracing paper, and then I fed through my printer, so that end through my printer, and it thought it was just cardstock, and it just printed. It got a little bit stuck here because I used this piece of card the second time around. I should have restuck some dots. I was just being stingy. And it got a little bit stuck there, but it kept going through and printed all these. So if you have trouble and you can't print vellum or tracing paper on your printer, just give that a try. And you can even try like double-sided tape there as well, so that will do the same thing. The only thing is that obviously if your images print right to the edge, you probably won't be able to use them because it'll be hard to get the double-sided tape off. So that's just a little hint if you didn't know. Because I know printers can be quite temperamental, can't they? So I've got this one cut away. I may as well just use it. So I'm just going to quickly fussy cut that. And I probably could have done this beforehand. So I will just try and be reasonably quick. And the tracing paper, because it's so fine, it tends to move a little bit on you. And I'm not being overly precise with that. Just cut these out, and I even cut the antennas out. Normally I just cut them off, but I'll keep them, try and keep them there. If you cut them off, it doesn't matter. I will try. Very fiddly, but worth it in the end, I think, the effect that it gives. So managed to get, you may have seen, I think Tracy Fox had some coin, like display holder things. I don't even know what they're called. Managed to get onto some of them. She did some beautiful things. So I'm going to try and use some of these butterflies in those as well. I'll have a play around with them when I get a chance. So maybe some of these cards and things I may be putting in my website as well down the track. At the moment I'm not. I've got a pop-up shop coming locally on, we start on the 16th of November, so it's a little way away yet, but I was thinking if I don't use these in journals beforehand, I will more than likely package some of these up and sell them as cards for people to buy. So you may see some of these on my website at some stage as well if you're interested. I'll put the link down below for my website anyway, if you wanted to go and have a look. Okay, so that's him done. How delicate are they? They're beautiful. All right, so with the tracing paper, I've just found, like with the static, they just tend to sort of stay in there. You don't have to add glue. You can add glue if you want to, but these I've just stuck on there, like put in there, and the static in the acetate just seems to make them stay in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sandwich that together. I'm going to pick that up and just play around with it a bit. Now, I do not like how the acetate picks up all the bits of fibre from the paper. So just make sure as best you can that the inside of the acetate is fairly clean, because every single little speck you're going to see. Okay. I'm just going to line that up as best I can. I'm just going to move him a little bit. I'm being very pedantic here now. Okay, so see that's lined up because I've punched those two pieces of card together. That lines up beautifully. So all I do now is I'm just going to hold that in place so it doesn't move. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. And I'm just putting my finger on top of the butterfly as well, because I'm sort of mucking around with the top paper. Now I'm not going too close to the cutout, because that's where the glue will ooze into the acetate. I don't particularly want that look. Okay, and then I'm just going around. I'm not going to worry about gluing here because I'm going to be stitching, but I will glue on this side. So I'm just lifting my paper again and just adding glue. Okay, and that's all you need to do, just so that it sort of adheres down and doesn't move on you too much. So you can see here, this edge is much bigger than this edge, but that's okay. We can trim that off now before we sew, which I will. So once again, you can use your, if you've got a rotary cutter, might even give you a straighter edge, or a guillotine or whatever, but I'm just using my scissors. And once again, it's not perfectly straight, but it will do. Okay. So that's that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sew all the way around my edges here, and I'm going to go around roughly around that that window there. Okay, so I won't bore you with that. I'm just going to pause the camera for a minute and I'll go and do that, and I'll be right back. So I've sewn around there. Now what I've done with this is, because I've just done it really roughly, I want it to look really quite organic. What I do is I just go around straight first, and then I purposely do really crooked straight stitch, I call it, just so that it looks like it's meant to be crooked if you do make it your straight stitch crooked. So, and then the circle cutout, I've just gone around 3 times, and I've just pivoted as I've gone around and just done it really roughly. So there's no way I would be able to do a perfect circle around that. So I've just cut my excess thread off here, but I've left my thread hanging here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly ink this, because these are really fine. Just so I'm not handling them so much, I'm just going to quickly ink. Actually, I might do a little bit darker. Just got to find my other ink. I'll be back. Okay, so I just wanted to use the ground espresso ink. It just gives a darker edge. So I'm just inking around all 4 sides of the card. If it gets onto that handmade paper, that's okay. Okay. So now we're just going to put some of our cutouts. So these are the ones that I've cut out using these dies from Tim Holtz. Wildflowers, what are they? Wildflowers number 1 and Wildflowers number 2. So 1 and 2. They're very fine and fragile, but I absolutely love them. So, oops. So I've just put them in here. This is a bit overkill, this container, but it's just so they can spread out a bit and not get all tangled up. So these, so this one here I've done on just the plain watercolor paper, and then I've just added watercolor to it. And then these ones here are, I have inked the watercolor paper and then cut them out. So they're beautiful as well. So we might use a combination of those. I really love this one. It's got a little bit of gold. So just like to layer them up a bit. And sort of like wrap them, tuck them underneath others, and so like as if they were in like your field of wildflowers. It's a matter of playing around. Do I add a little bit of colour maybe? I'm just going to get rid of this one. So anyway, it's just a matter of playing and getting the look that you want. I quite like that. So I'm just going to go with that. I'm just going to bite the bullet and do it. Just put them out of the way. And then all I've done is, as you can see on here, I've just used the same thread out of my sewing machine. I've just tied a knot in that, and this one I tied a bow. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to grab some thread out of my sewing machine, and I grab quite a bit because I double it over. I just need to put my glasses on so I can see. So fine. And once again, you can use any twine, but these are really, really fine and quite fragile. So you don't want to be tearing them. So I've just folded that in half twice. Okay. So I'm just going to put that there. And then all I did was just added a little bit of, so just pop my finger on there, just add a little bit of glue to those stems. My glue's all gone gloggy now. Just so that they sort of stay in some semblance of order of how I've got them there. And I like to just sort of have that sort of touching on the window there. And so what I would do then, so that one's going to be, I would just ink the back of that just so that it's got a little bit of colour on the back of that flower. So when you see it through the other side, it's not just stark white. Okay, so see how that sort of stuck them, just kept them all in one place. And this is the fiddly part, so I've just put this underneath. I think I'll just tie this one in a knot, because you should have seen me trying to tie these in a bow. Took me nearly as long as making the card. Okay, so just pull it, you know, not too tight because you don't want to buckle them. like that. I've caught up. Sorry, just... So probably would be easier just to use twine or something, but of course I can't do anything the easy way, can I? So I can still move these and place them how I want. Okay. Maybe I'll try a bow. Let's see if I can try a bow. And see. Now I've got to find which thread is that one that's really loopy. Oh, look at that. Did I get it? Oh, wow. It's probably like watching paint dry. Sorry, guys. It's probably really painful. So I just don't want a big loopy bow. Okay, so I've got this one. I'm going to actually just cut that off because I've got that all tangled up there. And I just want the bow, just pull the bow so that it's not, the loops aren't so big. And then just pull it tight. That'll do. It looks rustic. Let's call it that. I'm just going to trim them off. Okay. How cute. Okay, and so then I've just used, on these you can see I've used some labels from Kelly's Craft again. I just love them. So I'm going to do the same. So these are some of her tags. Let me have a look. I've got a fair bit of green there, haven't I? So we could even do that there. And so these are all the different, they're just beautiful. I love them. And they've got like, so maybe I could even do something like that. Let's double them over. Let's do that. Let's not overthink it. I like that green one actually. So I'll put Kelly's link down below. I'm just going to ink around these. And this little one. And because the flowers are pretty much where I want them to be, I'm just going to glue this one down. I'm just going to glue it down. Doesn't matter where. I mean, if the flowers cover up some of the words, it doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to layer that one up on there as well. And I'm not even doing cheesecloth this time. I'm just going to layer that like that. Okay, so now we've done the labels. I just need to put these back where and I don't particularly want these, they look cute hanging over the side, but because they're going to be taken in and out of a journal, I don't want them to be damaged. So I'm just going to lift these, and I'm just doing the lower part of this flower because some of that's going to be showing through the acetate. And that's the beauty of this art glitter glue with the really pointy nozzle, is you can get a little bit of glue without sort of too much going everywhere. Okay. So I like to leave some of the bits sticking up within reason. Once again, as I said, they're really fragile, so you don't want them tearing when you're taking them in and out of your journal. So I'm just sort of really randomly adding glue. Got that on top of that. So you can see, need to stick this down here. A little bit under there. I think I've done this all the wrong way around, but anyway, you get the idea. You could tip it over and just add your glue and then place it. I just like to make sure I've got it placed in a position where I quite like the look of it. So, and I like layering the flowers, so you can see I've got, you know, these leaves from this one underneath there, so I just like to layer them as well. And that is pretty much it. So let's put that in there. So how pretty is that? So you can still see the flower, but I've coloured it, so it's poking over the window. And that's the card finished. See, I've got that lifted, still lifted a little bit there. So I think they've turned out really well. I really love them. I'm going to make some more. They're a little bit fiddly, but well worth the effort, I think. And then you've got plenty of space for journaling on the back on all of those. So there you have it, guys. So that's just using the die cuts and watercolor paper and printing on some tracing paper or vellum. A little bit of sewing, and yeah, this is just a little booklet I found at the op shop. So this was a torn page, so I'll use that on a tag down the track. Beautiful paper to work with, but I mean, you could use any paper. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so if you like the content. Thank you to everybody that are already subscribers, and thank you so much for your support. I'll leave it with you for today. I better go and think about ironing some clothes for work for the week. So how exciting is that? Have my little bit of fun for the day. So please take care. And until next time, I hope you get a little bit of crafting time in. See you soon. Bye-bye.